Today we're going to tackle an important and complicated topic, MCIOA, the Minnesota Common Interest Ownership Act, also 515B, three different terms that you may hear. MCIOA we'll refer to it as. What is it? It's a state statute established in 1994 that essentially sets a framework for how associations are going to be governed and the requirements for how associations operate. The first thing to know is who does it affect? What types of associations does it affect? It affects all townhomes or planned communities, CICs, common interest communities, established after June 1st of 1994. Now, sometimes a developer might opt out of MCIOA, and it would say that in your governing documents, but that's very rare. Overwhelmingly, 90% of townhomes built after June 1st of 1994 fall under MCIOA. All condominiums built after June 1st of 1994 fall into it. Condos built prior to that are still under it, but they also fall under the preceding state statute called the Minnesota Condominium Act of 1980, which is 515, which is why MCIOA is 515B. Important to know that some of those provisions apply, all of MCIOA still provides. So, any association built after June 1st, 1994, townhomes or condos are under MCIOA. So what are the advantages of MCIOA? What does it do for an association? Well, first and foremost, it gives you statutory authority, right? You now have a higher elevation, more teeth, more bite in your enforcement of the policies of the association. It also brings continuity and readability in the language, because let's be honest, governing documents are not easy to read. Some of the older documents need a law degree just to figure it out. Great to put you to bed at night if you can't sleep. So MCIOA just brings a little bit more readability and continuity to your documents. A specific example is it empowers the board to create policies, to create a budget, and to levy assessments. Now you might say, we already do that, or we already have authority to do that. And yes, your governing documents do empower you to do that. But now you have statutory authority to do that. An example of specific things that it gives you authority to now do if you're under MCIOA is you can assess back attorney's fees. If a homeowner makes the association incur legal fees for challenges, you can assess those fees back to that homeowner. It can also assess back maintenance fees. If there's a homeowner that is the only one that benefits from a particular repair, maybe a homeowner is demanding that my doors should be painted because it looks bad, and the association is responsible for painting of the doors, so therefore paint it. Well, okay, we can paint it, but guess what? We're going to bill you back for it. So it gives you that ability to assess back maintenance costs that doesn't benefit everybody. More clearly defines maintenance responsibilities. Let's be honest, most governing documents, it's pretty gray and pretty fuzzy on who's responsible for what, and also who's responsible for the cost, like I just talked about before. And finally, it does create a little bit of what some might consider a burden, in that it creates now a requirement for replacement funding, reserve funding. Now you have to have a reserve fund, and you have to adequately fund that reserve fund for your replacement of all of your items. And another example of something that it brings is it brings a requirement of your master insurance policy to now cover the entire replacement value or replacement costs of the association. Let me give you an example of how that interacts. Your current governing documents might just simply say that you have to have a master insurance policy that covers the buildings, and that's it. Well, MCIOA takes that a step further. It enhances that to say, no, that replacement cost must be equal to the replacement value of the entire building to ensure that your association is brought back whole should there ever be a significant loss. MCIOA is a great thing to navigate on the Minnesota State Legislature's website. Here's what it looks like. You can see that there are all the categories of things that you could look into. It's very easy to navigate, and it's a great tool to spend some time going through. So one thing, and the last thing I want to talk about, is MCIOA does not disable or lessen your governing documents. Actually, it does the opposite. It actually enhances and it further empowers your governing documents. In 1994, when the state legislators passed MCIOA, they passed it with just about every section with the preface of, except as the declarations might otherwise provide. So unless your governing documents say this, then state statute says this. So it actually empowers, it doesn't circumvent. So that's really important because the legislators knew that each association is truly unique. So therefore, each association's governing documents are unique to speak to that uniqueness. So the point of MCIOA is not to water down or cookie cutter template every association. In fact, again, it's to enhance. So what does MCIOA do? It fills the gaps if your documents are silent on any matter. It brings clarity to where your documents might be a little gray, like maintenance or insurance we talked about. And further and last, it gives the statutory weight to you and how you govern as an association. So hopefully you found this helpful. Other great topics and tricks on sharpermanagement.com, on MCIOA, and on plenty of other things.